Welcome to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your host, Regina Partain Bergman, CEO of Bridgeport Strategy and co founder of the CEO Holy Grail. I am excited to bring another group of amazing panelists and my special guest co host today, Bijal Shah. Welcome, Bijal. So glad that you agreed to be our co host today.
Hello, Regina. Lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. I can't wait to see where this conversation goes. I know it's going to be amazing. It always is. And it's always just so enlightening to hear everyone's perspectives about collaboration. So, Bijal, would you take a moment and tell us a bit about your journey getting to where you are now, who you serve, and why that's important to you?
Absolutely. So I'm Bijal Shah, and my company is Think, Link, Lead. I work with leaders to optimize and leverage their leadership skills through traditional coaching and a self-discovery tool called human design. It is my absolute belief that no matter what position you are in your leadership, whether it's aspiring leadership to executive C-suite level, you do have some sort of power, influence, and status to make really impactful change. And when I took on my latest leadership role, which was head teacher of a school and the director of the training center for an academy trust, I could see, and I worked with so many leaders, senior leaders, executive leaders, and the changes they were making, it was impacting so many lives. It was impacting productivity, it was impacting results, and the people around them. And this is why I'm so passionate about leadership. But you see, there's one thing that's always missing, and it seems to be the self-discovery part. Not everyone is
Hmm.
aware of what their strengths are, where they need to delegate, what resources they need to bring in, and their energy level. So what I do is I fuse the practical with the spiritual, and we make it a very, very balanced approach. So that's why I use human design, but I also use coaching as well, because you can fuse the both. And the balanced approach really helps to optimize and leverage that productivity, the people, and the results as well. So that's why it's important to me. In my journey, I know that I didn't always know what I was good at as a leader. And when I discovered the human design system, which is based on your birth information and a combination of modalities, so quantum physics, you've got the Kabbalah system, the Chinese I Ching, you've got astrology, and you've also got the chakra system, I managed to understand how I was imprinted, my actual natural strengths and qualities. And then I was able to use it to really build a cohesive team and build leadership that suited me and suited the organization. It was really game changing for me. So now I work with other leaders to do the same.
That's amazing. And I really appreciate that explanation of that because, the last time you and I interacted um, was the first I was exposed to that human design concept. And so you've taken my understanding further along here. So thank you. I appreciate that so much. Awesome. Would you please, Bijal, introduce each of our guest panelists and tell us a little bit about them, but have them share their journey and who they serve and why?
Great. So I will do a overview of the wonderful guests that I have got on today. High quality, highly knowledgeable and experienced guests that I've got. And then I'll go back to them so they can introduce themselves. So I've got Patricia Brooks. And Patricia is from a wonderful company called Geneva Pearl. Now, Patricia is a high performance strengths coach, and she's also a business consultant. She's a workplace culture expert as well. I've got Sonal Shah. Sonal is a public speaker, and she's spoken on many stages, including Karen Brady's stages. She's an advocate for women in tech. She's also a coach, and she's the author of a wonderful book with beautiful cover on it called She Chose Tech. I've got Majinder Javel with me today, and Majinder is an executive career consultant. Majinda's worked with so many high-level leaders and their teams to help with career progression. I've got Malik Mohammed with us today. Malik Mohammed is an empowerment strategies consultant, primarily working in the creative industries. Many of Malik's clients are private clients, so he can't talk about all of them. But he is also the author of a couple of books, the latest one being Coffee and Contemplations, and his audio files on Instagram are also called Coffee and Contemplations because he's also a voice artist. He's got another book coming out very soon called Gems of Empowerment. I've got Rahul Karan Sharma with us today. Now, Rahul is also a LinkedIn top voice. He is the founder of a wonderful company called Steady Steps. He is the author of Miracles, and he is a mindset coach, and he specializes in leadership as well. So I'll ask Patricia to tell us a little bit more about herself and her story.
Yeah, thank you, Bijal. Great to be here in the company of some amazing people. So thank you for the invitation. So I am Patricia Brooks, as Bijal says. I'm a high performance strengths coach. I work with individuals, teams, and organisations, and it's great to hear Bijal talk about strengths as being part of her work as well. The work that I do absolutely focuses on the natural God-given talents of individuals and how they can identify them, recognize them, be more confident, and just own who they are, and the tool of choice that I use is called Clifton Strengths. So I work with individuals who want to potentially, maybe they want to change their job, maybe they're feeling a little bit stuck, maybe they don't know where to go next, maybe they don't know what they want to do, the confidence building. I tend to do that with them. With teams, knowing all of their strengths, it helps them to be more cohesive because they understand each other. Or I work with whole organizations and help them change and transform their culture. Now my journey started, I'm from a learning and development background. I started as a trainer, training designer, training management, training director. I kind of went up. I've been a school teacher as well. And then I went into change and transformation in the workplace. And it's at that point where I kind of noticed the overarching environment that people were in and how they were affected by some of the decisions that leaders make, or that we allow people in the workplace, that the power that we allow that sometimes has a negative consequence. So that's why I went into the work that I do now. Yeah, and absolutely love what I do.
Thanks, Patricia.
Awesome.
And we had an amazing conversation on the Mindset Lounge, didn't we? That's my radio show on Monday. And Patricia is a power player when it comes to change and team cohesion and workplace culture. So thank you so much, Patricia. Such an interesting story. So I'll go over to Sonal now. Sonal, if you could tell us a little bit about your journey and your story.
Hi, my name's Bijal Shah. I'm a speaker, a published author, and during the day I work as a vice president within projects in banking. I'm passionate about helping females and about diversity in technology industry. So I help females either change careers or climb the ladder once they are in their careers. And not only that, but to retain the talent, especially female talent, because there is so little of it in the tech industry. And I wrote my book to share my own story, to help and inspire others to learn about the technology industry, and if they also want to join, how steps to take and what to do. I speak regularly at conferences and events, and I also do coaching on the side. And thank you very much for the invitation this afternoon.
Thank you, Sonal. I mean,
Great to have you here.
yeah, Sonal has spoken on many, many stages, and she's an absolute advocate for women in tech. And she's just such a small percentage. I'm not sure what the percentage is, but a really, really small percentage, under 5% of women who are in tech, and women of color. So it's really wonderful to have Sonal here. Thank you, Sonal. Majinda, handing over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Hi, thank you, Bijal. Thanks for inviting me. So I'll keep it as brief as possible. So I started my career as an executive career coach about 4 years ago because I I had come from a corporate background and I'd been working in various industries, in marketing, market analysts, all sorts of things, in the tech industry as well. So I changed careers and pivoted a few times. And the reason why I started working as an executive coach is because I was tired of seeing unhappy people, talented, unhappy people being stuck in the workplace who, for whatever reason, found themselves in a role that they weren't really completely entirely fulfilled with. And again, going back to what you guys were saying, Patricia, you both of you, is about your strengths. What are your talents? What are you good at? What I really love to do is help people identify what their strengths are, what their talents are, what they're great at, and what they can get paid for, right? So, and also, obviously, there's a need for it. So identifying that with a client, I've worked one-on-one, I've worked with groups. And so it's just somebody who is a professional and is unfulfilled in their role. And there's a lot of us, as we get older, we just realize, yeah, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, but I don't really like it. I'm just getting paid. I need this job because I need to pay the bills and I need to do da 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 da. But and work should be fun. There's nothing wrong with having a great career. And sometimes there's a myth that we just have to put up with something. So, it's inspiring to have people enjoy what they do because they're good at it and they can get, great, immense pleasure from it and really spread that. And so we sometimes think work isn't fun. And I really want to spread the message that, work can be fun. We can enjoy what we do if we enjoy it and if we love what we do. So, if you are doing something in accordance with your desires and the lifestyle that you want, and yeah, we can do that because we don't just have to slot into this role or that firm or that company. We can be creative and create our own ideal dream career. So I help people identify that and put that together. And I work with many clients to do that. So it's not an overnight process, but I get people to sort of step out of that comfort zone, which we all know, that can keep you in a place and hold you back and all those beliefs that keep you held there for a long time. So I help people move beyond that and take that little step and step by step to progress in their career ladder, to pivot or do a complete 360, whatever it is that they really, really want to do. Because most people, let's face it, don't spend any time doing that little self-analysis, little audit about, oh, who am I? What do I want? No. I know what my company wants. I know what my boss wants. I know what this, Hold on a minute. What about me? So what is it that is truly unique about you as an individual that, is going to serve people? And so that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about helping people be passionate about what they do. Yeah.
Thank you, Majinda. That was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll hand over to Malik if you could say a little bit about yourself and what you do as well.
Sure. Thank you, Bijal. Thank you, Regina, for the invitation. It's an honor to be here. I am Malik Mohammed. I help creatives develop empowering mindsets to enhance their authentic potential. And this is done by an 8-step process known as the Empowerment Mastery System. My background is in law, primarily on the contract side. And over the years, I always had this burning desire to do what I'm doing now. And so roughly 11 years ago, I decided to take that bold step of delving deeper into personal development. Wrote my first book. Now I'm about to publish my third. And the one thing that I've found that's kept me focused over the years is the power of collaboration. My team and I are able to do so much globally. However, we do much more, reach a wider audience, are able to scale and grow the business even better, primarily due to collaborations. It's one of my core values that we achieve more together. And so what we bring to the table, what I bring to the table, is enhanced by collaborating, by working with right people, quality people, to achieve a better outcome. And so collaborations, to me, make sense for business. It also helps with one's own development, because when we have diverse views on a particular issue, it allows us to refer to our own cultural backgrounds, our own points of view, our lifestyles, wherever we are globally. And then we're able to meet the minds, as we say in law, consensus ad idem. This meeting of the minds allows us to produce the best possible outcome. So, with that in mind, it's an honor to be here on this platform today. And again, Regina and Bijal, thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you,
Great to have you
Malik.
here.
Lovely points of view there that we can extend further on in the conversation today. Rahul, so lovely to see you again. Now you're in Bali today, so I'm very, very jealous.
Yes, I'm in Bali, and I was having some challenge with the time and the currency exchange. It's little challenging to know because I just came from India and US, so it was little challenging. Trust me on that. But thank you, Bijal, for allowing me to be here, and thank you, Regina, for the invite. When Patricia was talking, it was music to my ears because her background is very similar to mine. And Sonal, thank you for the touch barrier for the women in tech. Majinder, we need people who love the job. So whatever you're doing is amazing. And Mr. Malik, I was not courageous like you that took the bold step 11 years ago. But yes, eventually I took that step 9 months ago and leaped into entrepreneurship. So my name is Rahul Karan Sharma. I help young managers and accidental leaders to become more confident in themselves. Over the past 20 years, one thing I have learned that people don't love to change, though they get excited for change when that change is coming from within, but they are not excited for the change that when it comes from someone else. So I'm not here to change anyone. I'm here to let them know what potential they have, similar to what Patricia, Manjinder, and then Malik you are doing. Uh, from a collaboration perspective, I collaborate with my mind first. Mind is my best friend because if my mind helps me, if my mind gives me those great thought process, my mind don't take me to those bad things, which is like eating a dessert after a meal, and it pushes me to stay healthy and have a conscious eating. I think grass will be greener on the other side. So I don't call myself as a change agent. I just call myself as a student of leadership, where I'm just learning and sharing the learning and making a little bit significant impact in making people change through themselves. I
Mm.
don't change themselves. I just motivate them to take that step that will allow them to do better for themselves. So happy to be here and looking forward to have an amazing conversation on collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Rahul. I mean, that was, really comprehensive. And I know that you are so passionate about those new leaders and those aspiring leaders as well. And it's always good to have you on and talk to you about that. So, Regina, I bring you a menu option of experts today.
You do. Awesome. This is amazing, Bijal. And Rahul, I have to welcome you back to the show. Thank you so much for coming back, Bijal. Thanks for bringing him back with you. It's a pleasure to have you back again. Wow, what a group. And the amazing work that you are doing in the world. It's an honor to be here with each of you and to see what all you're doing. So as I've listened to your introductions, a couple of the themes that have come through there are, first of all, collaboration, and that's why we're all here, right? It's the show about collaboration, but leadership, self-development, excuse me, I can't talk, self-development, personal awareness, confidence. There were some of those elements that I heard in each of your introductions. And so my question then is, how do we collaborate? I know some of you are collaborating, but how do we enhance our collaborations or collaborate more effectively in that realm of really helping people to become their best, right? Wherever they're at, to be their best, to really want to access all of who they can be and be those leaders that we need in the world. Whether you're leading in a corporation or you're leading somewhere else, we need leaders in the world. We need good leaders, right? How do we collaborate to help that, to help us have more? good, effective leaders in the world, corporately and otherwise. So please share.
How do we collaborate as people who do this, or how do we collaborate with the individuals, Regina?
Wherever we want to go, Patricia, whatever you'd like to. Yeah, this is an open discussion.
Cool.
Dive in.
Yes. So why don't we start with the, how do we, with the experience we've got and the expertise that we've got, I think one thing that we could be doing better, and I'm beginning to see more of this as I get older, is, the phrase knowledge is power.
Right.
15 years ago, we used to use that phrase. It used to be used quite negatively. When people used to keep knowledge to themselves because it made them feel more powerful. And I heard and saw a lot of that in the corporate. Nowadays, I use that phrase because we have knowledge. We should use it and share it amongst ourselves, with our peers, with our colleagues, with our competitors, and get rid of the word competitors and call them collaborators. Because the more knowledge we have together, the stronger we can be for everybody else out there. So yeah, I think we just need to get rid of the I need to keep it all to myself type of attitude. I don't see that from any people on this particular stage here today, but I have known people who say, oh no, I don't want to tell them, otherwise they will take this idea and take that idea. But I'm absolutely a believer that there is enough space in the world for us all to get the share of what we are trying to do. So we just need to relax a little, share more, and we will be the best for everybody.
I love that.
Yep.
And it also reminds me of that expression of a rising tide raises all boats, right?
Right.
As we share that knowledge, we raise the level for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So for me, I see two things. One, for us to collaborate as an individual, it's important for us to know the power of help. Most of the time, people don't ask for help because they see that as a sign of a weakness. And that's a mindset change needs to happen, that asking for help is not a sign of a weakness, but is for you to become stronger. Number two, the approach of know it all, or the mindset of know it all, it prohibits us to ask for feedback. So where I'm going at is, as leaders, we need to create that mechanism where we are soliciting feedback. We are not waiting for that annual appraisal or a quarterly meeting for our leaders to give us feedback, but proactively going to our team members as well as our leaders or peers to get feedback. And when we get that feedback, I think what we will get to know is, number one, our own blind spots. And number two, where are we struggling, where we could do better. And that is where we will be able to find out about collaboration. Because most of us, we feel that we as leaders, we have to do everything by ourselves. But leadership is not about just leading. Leadership is about serving. Leadership is not about controlling people. Leadership is about empowering people.
Yes.
It's very important for us to collaborate with different sets of people, because we are just one individual. We will not have all the blessings of the world that we will become knowledgeable. We will need people who have a better knowledge than us on certain things.
Yeah.
So I think my approach here would be is to change of a mindset for asking for help, solicit feedback, and knowing that it takes village to make something. Uh, be it individual sports like a ping pong or a tennis, yes, that individual is playing, but there is an army behind him or her who is supporting him in that mission. So,
Yes.
as leaders, we need to understand the power of collaboration,
Yeah.
and then take things to really uh, dream come true for many people, including the individual and the organization and the team members.
Love that.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Majinda?
Yes, okay, so I just had to unmute. I think that to collaborate, obviously, I think, was it Patricia who just said something about competition? I think people, they have they think the knowledge shouldn't be shared, should hold on. It's a scarcity mindset. It's scared of sharing and losing power. And actually, you are building your power and your effective leadership skills if you are effectively serving, if you're actually sharing and you're empowering and holding on to something because you think, oh God, I need to hold on because somebody else will get that. It's old school thinking, and it's kind of very old school. And as Patricia, I'll just echo what she said. There's plenty for everybody to share because people are like, well, she's going to get my client, or she's going to get that thing if I share my IP or something. Of course, there are certain things you can't share, but you within what we're talking about is like sharing some information or knowledge. And I think that's really important, and establishing a very clear sort of goals and for having clear goals for your for your actual collaboration is really important. And establish a clear sort of framework. What you're going to do, what is that going to involve? So nobody's confused about what that collaborative role looks like and what your responsibilities are as an individual or as a group. And communication openly and effectively is really important. So if you're not sharing the information or sharing what you've done or expecting to do, then that can lead to people guessing and second guessing, and then that sort of can stop the trust. So you need to build trust and accountability to be a good leader as well, which is really important, because how can you lead people or groups or teams without having any trust or having any accountability? So those are kind of like the three major things, I think. And obviously there's loads more, but that's just off the top.
Top three, Majinda. Thank you.
Excellent.
Going on from what Majinda mentioned, what comes to mind and what two criteria that I use for any collaboration are: one, values, and two, systems, in that order. Because to work with someone, you need to have at least a common reference point in terms of why you're doing what you're doing. The reason why we're coming together is because that individual, that company, can bring something to the table that I and my team are unable to do or to do well. And so the values: why do you do what you do? What inspires you? Where do you see this going? We need to be aligned. And secondly, systems. Systems, processes, strategies. Because we achieve much more when we have a clear step-by-step approach rather than being relaxed, going with the flow, etc. And even though when it comes to working with creatives, I find that there's a tendency to be much more relaxed, right brain thinking, etc. Systems, methodologies, processes are essential in moving from point A to point B effectively and being able to measure the progress thereof. And those are probably the two most important points that I find when collaborating, and two non-negotiables as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, sorry, Bijal, carry on. Sorry.
No, I was just saying thank you, Malik.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can see Sanal's just trying to sort something out there. So Malik, just kind of picking up from something you've just said about systems and processes. I'm wondering how, because everyone, what might be right for your system or your thought process may not be someone else's. And we've all got to be able to collaborate when we all think differently as well. So this is where the strengths element comes in, and the mindset and everything else that many of us have been talking about. So, how do we collaborate, or how, it'd be interesting to hear from the rest of the panel really, how do we collaborate when we think differently? Because if we try and impose one way on a whole group of people, then that just makes for a bit of a disaster, really. So yeah, it'd be interesting to know how collaboration can work when lots of different people think differently.
Excellent question, Patricia. And can we also take that to the difference between thinking differently and different values?
Patricia, on a lighter note, we should allow them to play the game called Code Names. That is one game that we play in our family, and that really helps me to know how my kids, my wife, and my daughter, they are thinking differently, and they get to know me. So, on a lighter note, but yes, I think you are bringing a very good point, because what system works for me may not be working for others. Uh, but where I believe is all the success that people have, there is a particular process that needs to be followed. And yes, people will have a different process, but there are certain things which are pretty common. And I think one of the thing is value system. uh, Value system, people needs to value the basics. And I was just reading an article yesterday in the newspaper that why Indians focus on hard work more in spite of hard work is killing them. Yes, it is true that hard work is making things more stressful, where heart attack rates are higher, but then hard work is not about equivalent to the number of hours. Uh, Hard work is about the dedication and passion. I mean, people mislead that hard work is equivalent to 16 hours, 18 hours. No, that but that 8 hours that we are being asked by our employers, if we dedicatedly give this 8 hours, I think that is good enough. The unfortunate part is that very few people give those many hours. So I think the from a thinking perspective, yes, people think differently, and that's where the art of knowing others comes into play. And I'm sure, Patricia, you must be aware of this situational leadership style, where most of the leaders, they just follow one leadership style to deal with people,
Yeah.
whereas their folks have different styles. So if I don't see that difference, I will just be doing one way things one way, whereas I have to do it five different ways. So it's more communication, more conversation with people, knowing them without beyond the laptops, knowing them behind the screens is what is more important in today's world. That's where you will know that, yeah, you know what, he thinks differently. He, his perspective is different. So that is where my mind is going, Patricia, on that.
And the common alignment there is values, isn't it? Because
Yes.
Malik mentioned values, you've mentioned values, Regina's just asked us to think about values, but and it's about aligning values without saying what are your values. I mean, maybe that's the question. I've used that question quite a lot of times. What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What are your non-negotiables? So once you know that, you're working with a client or your potential client, you have trust and integrity and kindness at the heart of your thinking, then yes, you can work together. If you have trust and kindness at your heart and they don't, then actually it's really difficult to form a collaboration with people who do not align. Back to your point, Malik, absolutely. Sorry, Manjinder, I
That's all right. I was just going to add, just taking it back a little bit. So it depends what the collaboration is for. You have to be very clear and set the goals, and why is that collaboration important to you? So that's going to bring up, it depends on what scenario we're talking about, right? So if you're a group of people and you've got the same end goal, then you need to be able to, that's why you've come together to create that collaboration. If it's different, if it's like a leader at the top of an organization and people are working for them, might not be the same, even though it should be the same mission, company mission, and people working for them. But it really depends on what collaboration we're doing and who we're doing it with, and more importantly, why. Why is it so important? So we must clearly set out the goals and establish why. And then it's the why that will drive the motivation and make people to work together, even if they do have different values, because not everybody like you said, nobody is the same. Everybody has different values. But if we have one core interest that's the same, which is the commonality of the goal and the objective of the collaboration, then that should be one of the main elements of why, is a crucial factor for a collaboration to be effective.
Absolutely, Majinda. And just taking that forward, the why, I'd like to talk a little bit about the dynamics of collaboration, because in an idealistic world, we believe that collaboration is everybody doing their equal part. But actually, that's not what a collaboration is. That is idealistic. Collaboration is about the value that you bring to the project. So it could be that you have some people who don't do much, but they're bringing the investment, they're bringing the network, and they don't have the skills to actually execute the project, but other people do. In human design, we are designed to collaborate in a certain way. So I'm a split definition. So I'm designed to collaborate with the other in my leadership, in my life, the way I do things, even in business. Some people are not designed really to collaborate with others so easily. Doesn't mean that they can't collaborate. It just means within the collaboration dynamic, they need to have more independent tasks to get on with, things that they can just do on their own. And then you have other people like triple splits or quadruple splits, which are slightly rarer, who are collaborations within collaborations. So the dynamic of how the collaboration takes place starts with a conversation. And as you said, assessing what your values are and who can do what. And it doesn't mean everyone doing their individual part. But as you said, Majinda, what is the goal? How are we going to get there? What's the easiest, fastest, quickest way? Who can do what? And that's also something that I believe in as well. So I've moved away from that idealistic of everyone does their equal parts. We get this in property, right? There are investors, and then there are people on the ground who will do the work. But the investors won't do the work. They will just give you the money. But the collaboration still happens. And at the end of the day, everyone gets a good split. The outcome is achieved. So we can translate that into business and in leadership.
Excellent. Great conversation. Yes. Rahul?
Yeah, so I also believe that sometimes when we are collaborating, our mindset is hardwired to collaborate with people who are like-minded, collaborate with people who we think would be helpful for us. But what I have learned is you need to collaborate with people with a very diverse groups or diverse skill set. And this I learned in financial industry, where most of the billion-dollar organizations, specifically $1 billion plus, they have a very unique way of doing the auditing. They have to have a mandatory auditors or audit committee, and they have minimum 2 people in that committee who have no idea of what accounting and finance is. And the perspective there is that they will be asking those why questions that a 5-year-old asks you, which makes us crazy as a parent. But we need people in our life who will ask those why questions, because sometimes we ourselves don't know if we've missed the board, and maybe the answer or the challenge might lie in that question itself. So from our mindset perspective, we should be looking for people who may not be bringing the same set of skill set, but a different skill of skills of set of skill set. and the other thing is, not everyone, I think, and Bijal, when you were saying that everyone has to share equally, it's not about just doing things. There are people who may not do things, but probably they will make 2 plus 2 5. And we need those people. They have that mindset of making the regular idea or making the work from a wild ideas. So that I think Mohammed, you were talking about the right brain, right thinkers, right side thinkers. Those creative people. We need those creative people who may not just go through the pattern, but they will disturb the pattern. They will think total wild, and that's where I see the magic happens when we think of those wild ideas.
And isn't that interesting too? Because so many times in society, it's that person who has the thoughts that are outside of the norm that gets ostracized, not accepted. But we need that, don't we? To have good collaborations and to have growth, to make a difference, we've got to have all of that.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Actually, I was having a conversation with Patricia on Monday, and we were talking about teams, and we were talking about getting everybody on the red bus. And once they're on the red bus, we have to put them in the right seats. And Patricia, you made such a great point, which would be really good to extend here, was when you assess the team dynamics in here, the collaboration dynamics, it could be that there's too many people with one set of skills and they're missing another set of skills that would make the collaboration or the team cohesiveness, the team dynamic much better. So remember, we were having a really good conversation about that on Monday.
Yeah, and talking about collaboration, Bijal started off with the bus analogy, and I immediately took it on to create this. So we collaborated right in that moment to create this analogy that seems to have just be a perfect description. So yes, we were talking about the team dynamics, lots of people having different strengths, and my job being to help them understand what their strengths are and understand what contribution they are bringing and what value they bring to the team, but also to help the manager recognize where they are most valuable. And the analogy, as Bijal said, was, there's this bus, everyone gets on, all the team is on the bus. And I said, yes, but if everyone's in the same seat, then it's not going to work. So you've got to have the different thoughts, the different mindsets, the diversities you're talking about, Rahul, the different skills, to be able to make something work. If you're all coming with the same train of thought, then it's you're not going to go anywhere fast, are you? And talking about being ostracized, Regina, I think you just mentioned that. I was also, many times in my career, I'll just put it like that, I was the person who would be sitting in the boardroom, listening to the same conversation, the argument going round and round. I would be the one to eventually say, have you thought about this? And just throw something in that no one had thought about, and, quite often, sometimes it was everyone would look at me and kind of go, oh my gosh, no. And we've just not given her a chance to speak, or she's not loud enough. But then the conversation would open. So just having somebody there to the points that you're all making to help bring that additional thought or that diversity of thought into the conversation is perfect for collaboration. It just opens the mind a little bit more.
Can I just say something? I think it's absolutely brilliant. Yes, of course, the diversity of thought is absolutely brilliant and needed. But how many times when you do bring something like that, someone just goes, oh, we don't do it like that. And or another form of that in another way.
Sure.
Well, we'll just have to think about that. And, we're encouraged to be innovative and bring new ideas to the test. And then when you do bring them, and Patricia, well done for you being able to bring that in and encouraging that. But most of the time, not most of the time, but majority of the time, it's often sort of dismissed or, well, let's just revert back to what we know and works and let's just not rock the boat so too much.
Yeah. And,
I think, Manjit, that goes back to the leadership, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I know some of the companies who encourages those, and the concept of wild ideas that I brought on, it was when I learned a case study about the company called IDEO, based in California-based company who deals in improvising the products. And they have that process. But I agree with you, not about, I think you said it in a very polite way, when people are rejecting the ideas, people are ruthless. People give very, the remarks that probably you don't want to hear. And all the creativity that you are bringing in, it just goes back.
True.
So it is from the leadership. The leadership has to show that openness, that yes, we are ready to do it, because many a times I see people in the company, they accept those out of the box ideas. People are very enthusiastic about those ideas, but in 3 months time, 6 months time, they don't see anything happening.
True.
So then next time when those ideas have been asked, people don't care, and that's become the norm, that's become the culture.
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to the leadership.
It does. If we take that back to leadership, typically or frequently, I will say, what happens is that for example, somebody who is the head of a department, they hire people that they're comfortable with. They hire themselves. So the whole department looks just like them. And as leaders, we've got to learn to diversify, to accept that diversification and seek it out in whatever organization we're building. We need to have that diversity of thought throughout whatever organization we're building. So yeah, I love that. Oh,
And if I may add to that, Regina,
yes, please, Malik.
diversity is actually good for the bottom line. It's good for business.
Absolutely.
It's good for business.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so oftentimes when leadership tend to block ideas, I think the second tier approach, the second line of attack, could be in developing effective communication styles and presenting the same idea, making it more palatable, or as palatable as we can,
Yes.
for leadership to understand.
Yes.
Because it does work. This conversation today, I was just thinking while listening to us all, this is a prime example of the beauty of collaboration. You and Bijal have invited us here. We're coming from different walks of life,
Yes.
different backgrounds, different life experiences. Yet we are having a high-level conversation to achieve the main aim, which is to talk about collaborations.
Yes.
This is a prime example of a microcosm that can be applied in the macrocosm of businesses worldwide. Diversity works. Diversity of thought is important when people are respectful, communicate effectively, and have the common goal in mind.
Yes.
Absolutely the best thing that I ever did was I lived in the UAE for several years. And the really unique thing about the UAE is that it's actually 95% expat. And you have people from so many different countries working in the same organization. And for the first time ever, I had to communicate with people from Europe, Asia, Africa, all everywhere. And it does actually help you to communicate better and to learn how to collaborate much better and understand, those nuances, those cultural nuances, that when somebody says something, they actually mean it in this way. This is just culture. And actually, it was a really good learning curve. So it is important to actually put ourselves in a position where we can, go abroad for a little while, or even different departments, because they think differently. They have a different way, a different energy about them. And you will always come back with more knowledge that you can share, like Patricia said, share and disperse in your own collaboration. You learn from others.
Yes. Folks, we are out of time. We can go on for much longer, but we're out of time.
Wow.
Goes fast, doesn't it? You see why this is the most fun thing I do in what I do. I just love bringing minds together this way and having this kind of conversation. But we are out of time. So we're going to move into our wrap-up round, and Bijal is going to run that. She's going to call on each of you for your final thoughts about collaboration and your contact information. And while you're doing that, I'm going to put your contact information into the comments. And Bijal, don't forget to do your own as well in the process, okay?
So I'll start with Malik. What are your summary thoughts, and how can we get in touch with you?
We achieve more together by collaborating with the right people with excellent skill sets to achieve a particular mission, goal, or vision. I can be contacted at malikmohammed.com. On Instagram, it's Malik Mohammed 8, the number 8. And on LinkedIn, Malik Mohammed. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Patricia?
Yeah, echoing Malik, really. Better together. And we should all be open enough and believe that there is enough for everybody in order to be able to collaborate. That will help us collaborate more. So I can be contacted at patricia@genevapearl.co.uk. My website is the same, genevapearl.co.uk. I will give out my phone number as well, so 0780 131 4856, and that's a UK number. So I'm really happy to speak with anyone who wants to talk further.
Fabulous. Rahul?
All right. So for me, I would like our people, our listeners, to not think collaboration from an external perspective, but more internal. Collaborate with your mind, collaborate with yourself, collaborate to listen to yourself. That's sometimes we miss. And it is all within our own self. We all have the power to be the best version of ourselves. Start collaborating with yourself, start collaborating with people around you. The world is always a better place. It's all start with your mindset. People can connect with me on my website is rahulkaransharma.com. If they type on LinkedIn, Rahul Karan Sharma, they will find me on LinkedIn as well. And would love to stay in touch with any of the listeners from this show and would like to help them in designing their life for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. And Majinder?
Yeah, so I'm going back to an old saying that just crossed my mind now. Sharing is caring. Okay, so sharing collaboratively, sharing your mindset, yourself, with a shared common mission and goal, I think is really important to all be on board. And I echo what everybody else has said. Quite frankly, it's all it's a growing process as well. It's learning as you go along as well. So you can contact me on LinkedIn with Manjinder Javul, and you can get me on Instagram on mkjconsulting.limited ltd, and the website is the same, mkjconsulting.ltd. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So my final contributions to this conversation are that collaborations involve people and they are energetic exchanges. So to get the most out of your collaboration, start with assessment. Review who can do what, who needs what to do what, and then the dynamic can be positively influenced so the goal for the project can be achieved. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can visit my website, thinklinklead.com. I'm also on Instagram at Bijal Shah Coach. And yes, so that's how you can contact me. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, panelists. You've been amazing today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. And Rahul, would you pop your contact information into the chat for me, please, quickly, so that I can put that out there? I didn't see yours in there. This has been wonderful. What a great panel. And I'm so sorry that Sonal was having such issues and we weren't able to get her back in the room, but I have put her contact information out as well, so that we make sure that that's out there, and we hope to get to see her on another show and get to learn more about her and what she's doing in this realm. Wonderful discussion. With that, let me just grab, see if I can grab this information on, there we go, on Rahul. So now I'll pop that in and then we will sign off for today. There we go. And we appreciate everyone who is watching this, whenever, wherever you're watching it. We hope that you find value in it and that you'll come back and see us again on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.
Bye.